Welcome back. Youth unemployment is at an all-time high. Experts say entrepreneurship is one way out of joblessness. But many young people say funding remains a major obstacle. Media mogul and entrepreneur Phindi Gule-Burley is now stepping in to help. She's hosting an entrepreneurship seminar in Durban on the 11th of February. The founding director of Youngster Entrepreneur joins us live now just to share more about this initiative. Phindi, thank you so much for your time this morning. A very good morning to you. We keep encouraging young people to start businesses. But you know what we lack? We lack telling them how. That's a big problem.
It is a big problem. We lack telling them how, and also ensuring that they are skilled actually to start businesses. Because you know, when we started Youngster Entrepreneur, what we found out is that a lot of young people go into business. Let's just say, for example, one decides to open a beauty salon. They know everything about a beauty salon, about the trade itself, but they don't know how to run a profitable business, meaning that your sales, your marketing, your finances, everything is in place, and they actually have a clear understanding of where the business is going and to make sure that the business is going to be profitable. Because there's no point in running a business if you're not going to make money. Let's just face it.
Absolutely true. And when it comes to young people, more than anything else, you'd often hear them say, but where do I even get access to capital? Right? Yeah. And then there'll be conversations around how there are government agencies where you get to apply. But if history serves anything, how many of them actually see the materialization of those funding applications?
You know, Faith, that is the thing that I'm of the belief that if you want to start something, you've got to first believe in it and also be able to put money into it. I know that times are hard, but sometimes some of the businesses don't require any capital. You know, we've seen it with COVID. People started the content creation on Instagram, on social media. That actually young people started with absolutely nothing. So sometimes we sit with such fantastic, brilliant ideas in our heads, but we don't stretch ourselves to think as to how the implementation thereof. What are the simplest ways of implementing this business without really thinking of extra funding? And because some of the businesses you can implement. So we need to start thinking of doing things differently, because these are different times. You know, COVID, if anything that COVID has taught us to adapt, to start thinking differently. The world is changing, and as the world changes, we cannot be thinking, I'm starting a business, oh, I've got to go to the bank and ask for money and do that. Those things have become very tight. Banks are tightening things, you know, they're tightening things, and you need to be able to secure funding for yourself first, to say, I'm investing in my business before somebody else can believe in it.
You know, it also speaks some truth to how personal branding or branding in general becomes a big topic of conversation, especially in a dynamic world of social media, where now you're no longer it's not longer you. Everything is content, right? The food that I eat, you snap, it becomes content. But how you brand that content then will translate into whether or not that content has got earning capacity or is just there for the likes. But do we take, especially young people, do they take themselves seriously when it comes to the way in which they brand themselves and potentially brand their initiatives?
I must say that a lot of young people, and just looking at what is happening on social media, have really managed to get it right. But there are some people who still don't understand and know how to use the power of social media to their benefit. And it's so correct that you say you know, it's so important to be able to brand yourself as an individual, because, and as an individual as well as a company, because I represent Youngster Entrepreneur. My background is radio, and also the content, therefore, that I post it needs to speak to who I am, what I represent as a person, as Phindi Gule. My background is media, but even when I was on media, I was clear that I need to define the things that represent Phindi. Women's health is very close to my heart. I'm a very active woman who is about to turn 50 in 2 years' time.
Even
proud to say it. Oh, thank you. You're too kind. You're too kind. And I needed, you know, Faith, when you're in an industry where it's so saturated, there's so many women in the industry, there needs to be something unique about you that stands out, that says, when people say Faith Mangope, they need to say A, B, C, D, and also you as an individual. When people say Phindi Gule, it needs to be running, women's health, business, entrepreneurship, all of those things. And I also know that if anything that doesn't speak to these pillars or anyone approaches me, then I don't touch. Because you don't confuse, you don't try and contaminate your brand. Your brand stands clean. People are aware that this is our go-to person. And that takes a lot of discipline, because you then have to say no to some of the work, because I don't drink. So if an alcohol brand comes to me, I will not touch it. And it's not because it has to stop to be about money, because now we are selling a lie.
Sure. And it's very powerful with what you're saying, and I can only imagine what some of the content that's going to be unpacked at this Young Star Entrepreneur. So talk to us a little bit about the seminars and what can people expect from it.
Let me just take you through Young Star Entrepreneur. So I crafted the whole the program in 2021, late 2021, right in the middle of COVID. And this is a point seeing that during COVID, a lot of businesses were shutting down. And my concern was, what is happening to that woman who has just started a business and now they have to close shop? But the optimist in me said, at some point we'll get back to the new normal, but how do we make sure that those women are still able to thrive in business as entrepreneurs? And that's where it dawned to me that a lot of young people go into business not understanding how to run a business. Even doctors, you know, some of the doctors will go and practice, have a private practice, but they don't know how to run a business, because that is a business, you know. So I thought we need to upskill women then and say, let's make sure that you fully aware of what happens in the business. That's the one side of the program. It's a 5-month-long program. And the other side, while the program is running, we align the women to the mentors. We make sure that we go into their businesses, see what it is that they need to improve, what are they getting right, and tighten on those things. But alongside the program, there's a competition. The woman that takes the learnings from the program implements into their business, and as such, we see that the business is growing from a profit point of view, and also them as an individual, they're growing, they're showing growth, but more important, this day and age where unemployment rate, as the statistics are high, they are also creating jobs in making a difference in the community they live in. That woman walks away with prizes worth over 500,000.
That's fantastic.
This was launched in 2011, and then last year, proud to say that we crowned our very first Young Star Entrepreneur who took away those prizes. And corporate, I must say, Faith, I'm really, really humbled by how some of the corporates have put up their hand and said, we're going to support this.
Phindi, I'll tell you one thing. If you're doing something from the heart and you're doing something from a place of purpose and betterment, money will always come. And people will always come and follow it.
It needs to stop to be about money.
That, you know, it becomes just such a big conversation. But I have to leave it here. But all the best with, of course, a Young Star Entrepreneur. I know that it's going to reach even greater heights. Can't wait till you give those women about 2 million or even 5 million rand worth of prizes as well. I'm the optimist, forever the optimist there. Phindi Gule-Burley, just giving us the latest there in terms of Young Star Entrepreneur. How is it that you can empower yourself much better?